This is Live from the Table, the official podcast of the world-famous Comedy Cellar, coming at you on Sirius XM 99 Raw Comedy, and available as a podcast, available on YouTube. Noam, this is Dan Naturman. Noam will be joining us soon. He's downstairs eating Il Molino. To be honest with you, I don't know if he's ever coming up.
No, he's coming up.
Well, it's hard to tear him away from Il Molino. That's Periel Aschenbrand. She's our producer. She's here with us. We've got Max Marcus, the sound magician, working the sound. And we have with us from the great state of Massachusetts, Warren Smith, teacher, volunteer, firefighter, founder of the Secret Scholars on YouTube. What's the Secret Scholars? Secret Scholar Society.
Secret Scholar Society. Yes. I began writing a story. That's where it came from. I was fascinated about World War II and the roles that the
World War II has given us such entertainment, has it not?
It actually.
I'm not saying it was worth the 50 million dead, but
a lot of movies,
a lot of great entertainment,
a lot of wisdom,
and comedy, even comedy. You know, the producers.
Anyways, I was fascinated by the role that the universities played, like in the lead up to before Pearl Harbor, like Roosevelt. You know, 90% of Americans were against getting involved in the war. So Roosevelt asked the president of Harvard, James Conant, to go secretly meet with Churchill. And they kind of knew war was coming. And so they smuggled all this secret scientific research back to Cambridge and started a secret lab. And, you know, like Oppenheimer, that movie came out and touched on a little bit of this, but it was big, like between all those universities. So I was fascinated by this idea of the role that the scholars played and how this like secret. This was before the CIA.
Wait, but this was before Oppenheimer, before the bomb project. So what were they working on prior to that?
Sonar, radar.
Radar, okay.
But they were also in the very early stages of what Oppenheimer started working on with the atomic project. So it was pretty cool. I found it fairly fascinating, and I kind of stumbled upon it when I was doing this research. So yeah, I just kind of loved the name, started writing fictional stories around it, and then that turned into a YouTube channel, and the name stuck is all.
And you're also a firefighter.
A volunteer firefighter. Yeah.
Why? Now, in New York City, the firefighters get paid.
It's very different. I'm in a little town in the middle of the woods.
So there's never any fires?
I've had 2 since joining in the last year. I mean, I've been there 6 months.
Like, I'm assuming you have to train for that. You can't just become...
Well, you know, I mean, you're a lanky guy, which I think is aesthetically very pleasing, but how do you lug all that equipment?
I can lug equipment because I'm lanky.
But the firefighters in New York, none of them look like you. They're all beefy.
That's very true. Accurate observation.
Yeah.
But there must be a paid fire...
We get paid when we're responding to calls.
Okay.
We get paid a little bit. It's not the same. These guys are all...
You're like, we get paid for doing this podcast, but not too much.
Okay, but wait, you also have a locals page?
A locals page where I'm just trying to raise some money.
Okay,
because you're trying to raise some money because you were recently let
fired.
go. And
Fired.
provoked a bit of a firestorm, I guess, speaking of fires, on X or Twitter or whatever the hell it's called now. But tell us about that. And Elon Musk came to your support.
Originally with that video. And when I posted that video about getting fired, I hope I wasn't confusing about the Elon part. Some people took it as me saying, oh, if Elon hadn't posted that, I wouldn't have gotten fired. But my point was, had he not posted that, I probably would have gotten fired after that.
Well, could you tell us tell us all about this? Because for people that don't know what happened.
There was a video of me teaching, and I'd been uploading on that YouTube page for a while. Like I mentioned, narrative films and all that, and it wasn't really getting any traction. But for a while, I had been interested in like what Jordan Peterson had been doing by recording his lectures. I was like, well, that's smart. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So I was doing that a bit, and one little clip I uploaded seemed to attract some attention. And I wasn't really active on Twitter, but someone else was, and they pulled the clip and posted it on there. I didn't even know it, and he tweeted it out. And that's how this whole thing started.
And what did you teach? What were you teaching?
Multimedia, so like podcasting, video editing, photo editing, 3D printing, digital art.
And what was the clip that
it was
went viral? Is that?
Yeah, we were doing a newscast, and the student had cold feet, so I kind of was like, here, I'll just sit in the chair for a minute. Let's warm up, treat it like a podcast. What's something that you would ask on a podcast? Well, I'd like to know your thoughts on J.K. Rowling. all right, hit record. Okay, these guys want to talk about J.K. Rowling, so what's up? And he was like, so what are your thoughts on how do you view Harry Potter now, given J.K. Rowling's bigoted beliefs? And I just said, well, first let's start with, is J.K. Rowling bigoted? And we just kind of walked through that, asked her, like, what are you basing that on? Oh, well, these tweets. Okay, could we take a look at the tweets? We examined the tweets, and by the end of it, I mean, the whole video was like 4 minutes, 5 minutes. By the end of it, he just changed his mind. He was like, oh, yeah, I feel like an idiot now. Just like, that's cool. That's why we do this. It's about like how to think, not what to think.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't sound that exciting. I didn't think it was that interesting, honestly. I thought it was interesting enough to upload to my little poding channel, but that's not saying much given the caliber of stuff that was on there previously. But that's how it came about.
And then what happened? Why were you let go from your job?
The official reason, let's see, 4 months went by, and I started with another teacher. We started building the channel out. We set up a studio in my house using personal equipment. Tried to separate it all because there was a bit of tension after that with the school.
After you got fired?
No, after I uploaded that initial video, like the next day, Piers Morgan had me on, and like the leadership at there's the top person, and I don't want to like reveal anything, but the person in charge
of the school
of the school, who's not really in the building, but like they work in a whole separate building with the lawyers and everything. It got, after I did Piers Morgan, the principal was like, we just got to meet with her because this is beyond me. I don't really know what to do because you're probably going to be getting people asking you to do stuff after this.
Well, what was the fallout after the video but before Piers Morgan?
Yeah, I don't
It was
really
like a
understand
day.
for the listeners that weren't following the story. What was said that was so inflammatory or went so viral that Piers Morgan wanted to have you
It
on
was
his
just
show?
how many people saw the video, which sounds, when I put it like this without seeing it, it doesn't really add up, and
Well,
it's
should we
ridiculous.
pull up the video?
Sure, if you want to.
Max, can you pull up the video?
It's on your Twitter.
It's kind of funny describing it without you guys. You guys are like the first people I've spoken to that have like sat me down to talk to me without seeing the video first. So this is actually really interesting. Most people just want to talk to me about this video, and I'm so sick of it, to be honest.
Well, now not only are you sick of it, but now you're gonna have to watch it again.
I guess
It's on your Twitter.
it is.
Okay.
I think.
Okay, but so
I
while
can just describe it.
yeah, well, I think it's good to play it not for us, but for the
Okay.
listeners and viewers. But while he's doing that, why don't you give us a little background of?
Yeah, so do Piers Morgan, come in the next day. I was just trying not to talk about it, and everybody had seen it. So he's like, all right, let's do a meeting at 11. So I met with the head leadership and the lawyers, and they're like, well, the student doesn't appear on screen. You don't reveal the school. It doesn't break any rules. And they were like, the reception was very good. Comments are very positive. And this is so.
Let's fire you.
Well, they didn't fire me, is the thing. My point was, had Elon not elevated to that level, because my thinking is they were probably like, there's so many eyes on us right now. If we fire this guy, then the optics aren't. That's just my speculation.
Okay.
It's just my speculation. But so some people are theorizing like they just waited until the 15 minutes of fame kind of passed. But the reason I got fired was built the channel, and then I had an almost identical interaction with a different student. And we got permission from the parents. Usually I have the releases, like the video release and the audio release, which is what I've been using prior to that.
Is it this first video? Which one is it?
Yeah, try and click that one. Let's see, okay, now just go to most popular video. Yeah, the top one.
This one.
Yeah. This seems so silly now watching because it's not that. It hasn't gotten that many views on here. It blew up on X. It got like 40 million or something.
40 million.
Yeah.
Oh my God. How long is this thing?
4 minutes.
Okay, we're not going to watch the whole.
Can you get ad revenue from that?
On YouTube, I didn't make a dime on X.
Oh, you don't make money on X.
No.
Because they're trying to figure out how to make money off your.
Well, that's the question. That's what I've been trying to figure out. So I was like, well, I'm going to build a YouTube channel, try and make the most of this crazy opportunity. You know,
I'm like, I mean,
Maybe we'll get 40 million views, Dan.
well, I why did you guys? What made you want to sit down with me? I'm just curious.
Well, to be full disclosure, Noam Dworman said, "Let's get this guy on."
Oh,
And then Noam Dworman is downstairs eating Italian.
No, but he's gonna come back up.
So you'll
and
forgive us,
no worries.
for our lack of knowledge about.
I
You want me to play the video?
yeah.
Hit it. Looks like Adrian Brody, by the way.
So what's going on with that? What do you want to know?
She's had a pretty controversial past. I just want to know, like, what are your thoughts on it? And, like, do you still like her work despite her bigoted opinions?
So let's get specific, though. Let's define bigoted opinions. What opinions are bigoted? We're going to treat this as a thought experiment. I'm not going to say what's right or wrong or what way to think. The whole point is to learn how to think, not what to think.
Yeah.
So when you say bigot, you're starting with the conclusion that, given her bigoted opinions.
Yeah.
So first, let's start with, does she have bigoted opinions? So when you say bigoted opinions,
She has had a history of being extremely transphobic, I've heard.
I've
you've
heard.
So can you give me an example?
If you look at her Twitter, I think you could see a few things. If you want, I could try and find
see
something.
if you can find one.
So, one of these tweets that she came up with in 2019, she said, "Dress however you please, call yourself whatever you like, sleep with any consenting adult who will have you live your best life in peace and security, but force women out of their jobs for stating that sex is real."
So you find that bigoted? What do you find about
It was deemed transphobic. I myself,
Do you find that transphobic yourself?
I don't really have an opinion on it, but
This is
I'm just
amazing.
going with what a lot of other people have said.
So let's pause there. Let's not go with what other people are saying. Let's try and learn how to critically think. So let's analyze the tweet ourselves. So that statement, do you see anything problematic? Disregarding other people's opinions.
She did try and pin some things on a specific group of people.
Where does she do that? Can you read that?
But force women out of their jobs for stating that sex is real.
So when I hear that, I'm interpreting that as meaning, if a woman says that, saying that there's a difference between men and female, and then being attacked as transphobic, I think that's what she's saying by attacking someone for stating that sex is real.
That is exactly what she's saying.
Is that transphobic to you?
So, to me, no. Stating that sex is real is not transphobic. It's just a fact of life. It exists.
So is there anything you disagree with in that tweet?
In that tweet, I can't really see anything that I myself disagree with, but I can see why some people would think, oh, this is offensive. We can't have that here or something, because...
Sure.
There's an apology tweet.
Let's read that. What did she say there? I haven't read that.
"I respect every trans person's right to live any way that feels authentic and comfortable to them. I'd march with you if you were discriminated against on the basis of being trans. At the same time, my life has been shaped by being female. I do not believe it is hateful to say so."
You see anything problematic there?
She's apologizing, so no, not really. If I could read it again.
It sounds like a very similar statement as what she was just saying. She's basically saying, like, I have nothing, to me, this is what I interpret it as, I have nothing against someone being trans.
Exactly.
It's your life, but you just don't get to impose on you can live how you want, I can live how I want.
Yeah.
And let's all,
Exactly.
So I guess now that we're looking at it like, oh, there's not much difference between me or her, do you think it's fair that that she's being attacked by a large group of people and people are calling her, like you said at the beginning of this conversation, you said, given the fact that J.K. Rowling is transphobic, how do you feel about Harry Potter? Now, retroactively looking at that statement, do you think that was the best way to phrase?
No, I feel like an idiot now.
It's okay though, but this is why we do this, to learn
Is that
There's been
the
like
crux of it?
So in my class
it.
specifically,
All right, so we have the
in our class-
gist of this.
Well, you seem like a good teacher to me.
Yeah, you seem like a great teacher.
I mean, unless you're a gym teacher, then what the fuck are you doing?
This is high school? Yeah, okay. It sounds like 11th, 12th grade, yeah. I mean,
Are you a Harry Potter fan, by the way? Is that why
I am.
that's why he brought it up in the first place?
Probably.
Okay.
are you
I know
a
nothing
Harry
about.
Yeah,
I don't know anything about Harry Potter.
about
Nothing about Harry Potter. With the Sorcerer's Secret or something, or the stone and this.
Yeah,
I know that
Sorcerer's
people
Stone.
who love Harry Potter get very sensitive when I say that I find the whole thing insufferable. So
I don't know anything about it. You're a fan of the books or the movies? You seem like a book guy.
Yeah, I grew up with the books.
Grew up with
Okay.
them.
Yes.
I haven't read them, so I can't. If we are going to be critical, I shouldn't say that I don't like.
Well,
them.
anyway, so what happened with Elon, and then how did that boil over into your?
Oh, so he tweeted it, and then yeah,
He tweeted that video.
yeah, all it takes is one tweet from him.
Yeah,
and
obviously.
After you got fired,
no,
No.
this was like
Pay attention, parent.
5 months
I just
ago.
don't understand what is so controversial about.
Well, he's going to
this.
tell us what happened after Elon tweeted
Yeah,
it.
so then I go on Pierce Morgan, have the meeting with the lawyers. They clear it, basically. And he's like, "All right, well, congratulations, good luck, because people are gonna be, this is gonna bring opportunities and whatnot."
Yeah, and
so-
you seem like a great teacher.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but forget teaching. You got a new career. Fuck those kids. You're going to Hollywood, baby.
4 months go by, have an almost identical interaction, and I thought that was worth sharing, so I uploaded that.
About Harry Potter again?
Except the student claimed she was racist, so ran through the exact same process,
And this to the same result.
same result, and many people thought that was fake. So I thought, well, they're gonna have fun with this one then, because they're really gonna think this is fake, that it could happen twice. So,
Okay.
so I shared it. I was like, I want to make sure we have permission from your parents though this time, because there's more eyes on me. And 8 days go by, and they call me into a meeting with that head person through like an intercom, just like this. If we were sitting at the table like this, there's those three people, and then phone. And they're like, "So we've decided we just want to part ways because we can't trust you not to upload stuff online." And
But which video did Elon tweet? The first one is
that one,
the one we just saw.
that-
Okay.
Yeah, the other one probably wasn't as, but
But so you saying it was mostly the Elon giving it all that attention that resulted in.
I'm theorizing. I'm just,
Okay. And this is a public school system?
I don't want to say too much about anything that could be identifiable
Okay.
to the school.
But that's why are you so protective of them?
Well,
Just for yourself, for
because-
your own. That's really. I'm just curious.
I thought about it like you guys. You had Peter on. Well. Anyways, there were people that offered crowdfunding. Like, oh, you should fight this legally. that route.
Oh,
Well,
okay,
you can
okay.
sue the school system.
Well, I don't think they did anything suable. I think because
Well,
they have their ability, given that it's the way it's structured, it's essentially they can, just like any other business, they can hire and fire at their will. And I
Right.
signed a contract where I remember when I signed onto that school 4 years ago, I thought, that's unusual. I can be fired at any time for no
Okay.
reason.
Okay.
And the
I mean,
first school-
unless it was something to do with race or ethnicity, and then you have a lawsuit. But
Right.
This-
Well, because the first school I started at was a public school, and that would be different. But this is just slightly different structured school.
Okay.
And so they are within their rights, and that doesn't, if they want to part ways, that they have every right to do that. But the way it was done did feel a bit like I was just kind of deleted. That's what I said in that video. It wasn't like, oh, you've spent 4 years building this program out, and unfortunately, I understand you're trying to do something with YouTube, and it just doesn't. It might be a little bit of a liability for us, so we just reluctantly gonna have. It felt a little bit different than that. It kind of felt like.
what if they had said, okay, we'll keep you, but you got to just get rid of this YouTube channel? What would you have said at that point?
That's an interesting question, because it's such a remarkable opportunity.
You would have said, "Listen, I think we just have to part ways."
Probably, honestly, because it had been getting a bit. I hate to use the word toxic. It just had been getting very frustrating, that environment where when something like that happens, it's so unusual. Suddenly you have a coworker who's going on shows and talking to people like you guys and doing things like this, and you have office politics that exacerbates it. Just so any weird dynamic is going to just, so there's a mixture, probably that people that disagreed about even discussing J.K. Rowling or think she is problematic.
What do you mean? How could you not discuss J.K. Rowling? Isn't she like the most famous author of like the past 100 years?
Well, some made the argument that I guided the conversation or that she is transphobic and that has no place in the classroom. There's no issue as simple as one explanation. There's always going to be
Wait, so
multiple.
what
Well,
about
even if she is transphobic, you didn't say whether she was or she wasn't. You just asked the kid. I mean, you specifically said.
But that wasn't why.
Right.
Why
I
the reason they gave for fire
and
make
and
fire.
they were right. They said you were supposed to check a box. Apparently a one sentence email had gone out the same day as that meeting occurred after Pierce Morgan. I was on my way to that meeting, and I remember the principal telling me, "So blah blah blah, the lady in charge, she sent out an email, but don't worry, you're not in trouble." And then I went in the meeting, and I was like, when they were like, "Okay, like no rules broken, blah blah blah." So I went with that, but there was a one sentence email saying, if you're going to upload any videos online, check with your supervising principal. And there's multiple sets of principals. But anyways, I didn't do that, to be fair.
Okay.
Well,
which
so
I've
what
never
about
done
getting
before.
other teaching gigs? You're now having difficulty.
It's been about, I guess it's been 4 weeks now.
Oh, this is all brand new.
Mhm.
Yeah, you got to have some savings left.
You need to talk to Elon
Bitcoin.
Musk.
It's like, we were just talking about crypto. But
Oh yeah.
no, I'm a little stressed about that. Hence the locals. So yeah, trying to figure it out, build the YouTube channel. But I'm so small though. I've only got I'm almost at 100,000, but that's still, you don't make much money off.
That's great, though. That's a huge number for
Thank you.
somebody who's just starting
Just
out to
started.
build something.
Well, maybe you got to start smashing Lamborghinis or something. Isn't that how Mr. Big
that'll be on
or
brand
Mr.
for me.
Beast rather? So have you tried to get other teaching jobs, or it's just so brand new that you haven't had the opportunity?
I've been, now and then I got one email from a school overseas, but I don't want to move to Europe right now, or in a place in Europe that's kind of embroiled in conflict. So it's
Like called Europe.
Ukraine.
right outside Ukraine. So I was like, well, I'd be happy to launch an online thing so I can, because I enjoy the firefighting and everything. I'm trying to build something of my own.
But it sounds like this is actually a course that is so useful and necessary for especially high school kids.
Well, the course was media, right?
Yes,
It wasn't critical thinking.
To be fair, that's true. Yes.
Yeah, but
I
critical
was
thinking
video
is.
editing.
No, he put critical thinking in there, but
Listen
that
to
wasn't the
me.
course.
I taught for many years. I taught writing, and critical thinking is an integral part of teaching anything.
I agree.
Because you can't teach anything if the kids don't know how to fucking think critically.
That's what Elon's tweet was. He said critical
Really?
thinking should be the first thing taught in schools.
Wow, look at that.
Well, Elon, as I understand it, has a buck or two.
But
He can't float you something.
Wait, so what happened with Piers Morgan?
What?
What was the whole spiel with Piers Morgan?
It was just kind of, they were just like, could you run this? The principal had said that morning when I came in, he was like, because he'd just spoken to me about this the day before when I was trying to ignore it. And he's like, dude, not talking about this is not going to work. Everybody's seen the video. And then I went on Piers Morgan. I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to put him in an awkward position, because then I knew he would be like, well, I'm going to have to run it up to,
Oh,
you know
God,
who.
it sounds like a nightmare.
And then if they say no, I'm in that position where do I not go on Piers Morgan, a once in a lifetime thing for a guy like me? It's like, I didn't want to be in that position. So it was more of like a ask for forgiveness versus permission.
So you live in
Obviously.
Mass. You live in Mass. I know you don't want to go to Europe, but would you consider a move to New York City, because the Comedy Cellar is always looking for wait staff, and these people, I'm telling you, they make like $2,000 a week, I think, downstairs. If you're waiting table, I don't know if you like to wait tables.
Will you stop?
I'm just floating it.
No, I will consider that.
Do you have experience?
Waiting tables? Yeah.
Do you have the authority to offer?
I have the authority to suggest him putting in his resume.
Okay.
You
The
know.
living expenses, though, probably offset that. And
Well,
I
but
love
you-
where I live.
Pardon? Well, you're not married, no kids, right?
I have a girlfriend who just moved in with her 3-year-old.
Oh, okay.
Like
well, that
a
doesn't.
week
Does she
before.
want to move to New York?
How serious is this?
pretty serious.
Oh, all right, that kind of complicates things.
See,
Yeah, I don't
And the
think she-
kid probably has to stay where he is, right? Because
Yeah, right now.
he's like
Yeah,
he's in school himself.
he's about to be, and we have the best school system, and it's
With it, could you tell us where in Mass this is?
yeah, it's right next to Concord in a little town.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that. No, it's a
Yeah.
tiny town. Yeah, you seem like you're from a small town. You don't seem like a city.
Well, I'm
city
from North Carolina. I'm a country boy, so coming to New York is always. I spent a summer in New York as an intern to a talent manager back in school, but whenever I come here, it's a bit stressful just driving in. I was like, man, where am I going to park to come do
Well,
this?
this might be right up your alley because, we have a lot of talent here at the Comedy Cellar. So if
Well,
we have any number. I don't know how familiar you are with the world of stand-up comedy.
oh, I've never tried it.
No,
I
but
don't- I don't think I'm very inherently funny, but
well, no, but I'm saying there's a lot of interesting people that come
I've
here.
heard.
That you might meet.
I've heard.
Yeah.
I've heard this is the place to be for that.
Well, for bumping into famous comedians, it's a place. And every now and again, famous non-comedians will stop by. You know who's here? Bill Gates was here a few weeks ago.
You guys have
Really?
had some really interesting people on the podcast. Like,
Oh, do you listen to podcasts?
Yeah.
Or did you listen to it anyway, or you started researching it? after-
I'm a fan of Peter Boghossian. I was watching his
Oh, okay.
appearance with you guys, so
Okay, yeah.
I just had a chance to go on his show the other day.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is great for you.
Well,
Fuck
that-
that school.
Yeah, there might be.
Listen, it's insane that they fired him. I mean, it sounds like what they fired him for was having a conversation about quote unquote like
I don't know.
controversial.
I don't know
topic.
why. I mean, from what I'm reading, I think they fired him more because now he's just too in the public eye.
I think it would probably be
Bullshit.
something more. I don't think it was political, and I want to be straightforward. I don't think they did anything legal, and I want to take responsibility for my own actions. And I was supposed to check with that guy, and I didn't check with him. So
Okay, fine. But they could have also said, hey, Warren, you were supposed to check with us. You didn't. Please check with us. And you could have said, oh, sorry, but actually I got permission from the parents.
Is that no?
Yeah.
Well,
so
finally.
so it doesn't really.
After he stuffed himself with
Okay.
chicken
it was going to
rollatini.
happen, though.
Meanwhile, it's
Wait,
probably all
wait.
cold by now.
Listen, stop. I'm serious. That he said, they could have said that, and you could have said, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't get that email. Obviously, you're telling the truth, and moved on. They don't like that you've become sort of this sort of media personality.
And I
Right?
can understand
Do,
that.
do you have any reason to believe it has anything to do with your opinions regarding J.K. Rowling?
I don't. I think it's probably more what you're describing, maybe a conflict of interest or just a liability.
That's
and I can understand
ridiculous,
that.
though.
Given what I've seen there and everything.
You don't think you think that if that conversation was about like
Someone just
whether
asked me that yesterday, and honestly, I don't think it would have mattered. If
Really?
it would have been about cats, I don't think it would have mattered.
I was
It
going to
a
say
matter-
dogs.
It was a matter of the virality and how many people saw it, I think. Because then, yeah, because once they did that, they wanted me to sign an NDA to be able to get my severance. And that's what the whole last few weeks have been a battle, trying to figure out how do I afford a lawyer? What do I do?
Well, you
Can we negotiate this in a way that won't compromise my ability to speak about this in any way or defend myself if I do need to? Because what they did offer me would have prevented me
Was-
from ever discussing anything or even acknowledging that I'd been fired.
What
or
kind-
that
that's
it existed.
outrageous.
What kinds of things, and maybe you mentioned this, but what kinds of content are you going forward? Are you looking to put on your YouTube
Yeah.
channel?
Cats.
I kind of started finding my footing over those months because I was labeled the critical thinking guy. So
I love that for you.
Thank you. So I just kind of look at things that are occurring where I see lazy thinking, and I try and just address things with logic. And I'm not trying to just react or get political. I'm trying to, dissect logic. And I think logic can be treated as evidence, and you can follow it like a thread.
This
What
is
happened.
great.
Well, that's
Th-
what we
they-
do
this-
on this. That's what we attempt to do on this show, is to try to look at everything objectively, critically, and logically. So what are there any particular issues where you're seeing lazy thinking these days, and you want to
Yeah.
address?
All the time. I mean, at the moment, at the top of my head, I mean, I think, and I don't know where you guys stand on this, but the litigation around Trump, just given what I've been going through, I can kind of see where unnecessary things just become muddled sometimes for ulterior motives when you just want to complicate someone's life. And so maybe that's just resonating given what I'm
Well,
going through.
that's. I mean, I haven't done any kind of a deep dive into the Trump.
Neither have I, to be
litigation.
fair.
But Noam, who's not here because he's downstairs. Was that him that buzzed in?
I don't know.
No.
I'm sitting here.
Okay, that's not.
We'll have to do it again sometime. We'll have to come back.
Okay.
He is very much against. He thinks it's ridiculous that he was prosecuted for that. Although there might be other shit that Trump has done that might be worth prosecuting. This particular prosecution for, and I don't even know the nuts and bolts of it. I mean, if Noam were here, that would be a good conversation. But he was prosecuted for paying Stormy Daniels, but falsifying the business record, saying that it was a business expense,
Political expense.
a political expense. So the charge is that he falsified
Or
business
legal
records in
expense.
furtherance of an underlying crime.
Yeah, as a legal expense, I'm sorry. But technically, I think it does categorize as a legal expense when you're paying someone to sign an NDA. That's a legal expense.
Okay. But the underlying crime that they said was paying. It was a campaign expense.
If it's this difficult for us to
Well, it's only
articulate and
difficult to me
explain,
because I'm
it's-
ignorant
well,
and
I
didn't
agree.
study the
I
issue.
don't know it. No one seems
But
to be able to
Noam
explain
knows
it.
this shit backwards and forwards.
Well, okay, but regardless, he's not here right now, so it doesn't matter.
Well,
But
I
the-
figure if I keep saying his name, he'll appear.
here's the thing.
Like that movie, you know. What was that movie where you said 3 times?
Aladdin.
No. I want to go home. The Yellow Brick Road.
No, there was a movie you said his name 3 times, and
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice.
was it Beetlejuice?
Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Okay.
First of all, I love the critical thinking guy for you. I think that these people gave you a gift.
Well, thank you.
You have the
Thank you.
whole world at your fingertips. You don't need to be stuck in a place where you're not being appreciated. I mean, this sounds like complete nonsense and like such small-minded thinking, as opposed to being like, oh my God, we have this amazing teacher. What a resource for these children.
For what we saw, he's an amazing teacher. To be fair, who the hell knows what he's
Fine.
doing with these kids?
Yeah.
But given what we've seen on screen, I like what I'm seeing so far. I like what I'm seeing so far.
Well, thank you.
It's so, you know.
I mean, they're like flooding these schools with like rabid anti-Semitism, and that's okay. But then you have somebody like Warren who is actually giving these kids an opportunity to use their fucking brains.
That's another topic I just did a video on because that bothers me, the anti-Semitism on college campuses. But anyway.
By all means, tell us.
Oh, that's all there is to it. That's what I do is I'll just find something that's going on and I'll examine how people are discussing it and then I'll.
Now, what if
assess it.
J.K. Rowling did something that you did find offensive? How would that color?
Well, offensive doesn't mean any. That's a subjective.
Well, what if
thing.
she
Hated firemen.
No, she killed somebody. I don't know. She did something
Then-
horrible.
Then she would be a murderer.
Yes.
That doesn't mean
How would that color your relationship with Harry Potter?
That's a good question. If J.K. Rowling murdered someone,
Yeah, and it wasn't even a crime of passion. It
that's
was
a good question.
Well, what kind of a crime was it? Was it an accident?
How did she kill
was
him?
it intentional?
Was it like humane or
she
was
killed him
it
with a circular
premeditated?
saw.
That would might.
She's
and
like
she-
a murderer, or like she went.
I'm just saying, is there something J.K. Rowling could do that would make you no longer a fan of Harry Potter?
I don't know because
that was the question that was asked.
You're right.
That's is how this affects your view of Harry Potter. So you went through the process with the young man, and ultimately he decided that maybe she wasn't a bigot. But if she did something that you found horrible,
I separate the art from the artist. I
There
think
you
if
go.
Eunice became a murderer, I don't think that detracts from the brilliance of the world that has been created.
I know so little about Harry Potter.
But we can
Yeah,
use
yeah,
that.
yeah,
It's actually a great question, but it can be applied to many other great.
But I want to know if
artists.
Harry Potter really is brilliant, or if this guy's just a lunatic.
Well, the numbers speak for themselves.
Yeah,
It's
Well,
the
but
largest
yeah, I
selling
know the
book
numbers
ever.
speak for them. The number, she's popular, no doubt. I can't
More than
question
popular.
that.
She's richer
I-
than the Queen of England.
Is that true?
Yes.
And she was like homeless.
Well, she's
wasn't
not
she?
richer than the.
Almost.
Well, there is no
Is she
Queen of
not?
England.
Oh, you're right. Oh, I misspoke.
Um,
Got me.
No,
so
no.
I think you mean the former Queen of England.
I think that everybody, whether it's their thing or not, can agree that it's a
It's a phenomenon.
Phenomenon.
But I don't know that if the pet rock was a phenomenon too.
You know that there's a big Harry Potter store in New York City.
I saw one in Boston.
Oh, okay. So
I
I'm
didn't
sure
know
it's the
that.
same thing. Listen
Are
to
you
me.
into all things wizardry?
What
Like
does that
magic?
mean?
Like I mean, you like magic.
Who doesn't like magic?
I got to raise my hand on that one.
Yeah, like
It's okay. I like close-up magic.
okay,
I don't like stage shows.
David Copperfield and stuff's a little.
I don't
weird.
need David Copperfield. We were
Yeah.
talking about
Darren
him.
Brown is cool. Have
Who?
you seen Darren Brown?
No, I don't know.
The English magician. He was in Sherlock, street magician. Uses like psychology and
Oh,
like
yeah.
science.
Oh,
He's-
that sounds interesting.
He's my favorite magician. He's cool.
He's like, does he do like, what do they call it, mentalism?
Yes,
Oh.
He's the one who walks up and puts people to sleep, like hypnotizes them on the spot. And
Is it real though?
Yeah,
or
but how
is
do we
it-
know that that's
he
real?
claims that he's using science and everything. I think that, and this is what's interesting, because he provides a logical explanation that I think is the real illusion, is the brilliance of it. He's never
Okay.
like he's trying to give scientific explanations so you buy into it a bit. So when he's doing the mind reading and stuff, he's like, I have no ability. No one can read minds, but I can use micro expressions like Sherlock
Oh
Holmes.
wow, I
It's
love
really cool.
that.
Yeah.
That is cool.
What's his name? Derek?
Darren Brown.
Darren Brown. Okay.
We should
Benedict-
get him on the show. Is he alive?
Oh yes, he's alive. If you can get him,
You can come back and join.
I would
this
definitely
Okay.
come. If you
Okay.
can. Yeah, for sure.
Wait a second.
Well,
though.
one of
Wait,
our
wait, wait, wait.
comedians, Harrison Greenbaum, we had on a couple of weeks ago, and he's a magician / comedian, or comedian / magician. I'm not sure which of the two he prefers to
He
prioritize.
prefers comedian. He always says you comedians.
Well, what a man says and what he thinks is two different things.
Listen
I'm
to me.
quoting a Mammy from Gone with the Wind.
Coco
I don't know
Chanel.
if you know that movie.
Coco Chanel
Wind?
was a Nazi.
Yeah, because
for the love of God.
well, because Scarlett said that Ashley says he likes a woman with a hearty appetite, and Mammy says, "What a man say and what do you think is two different things." Now that would get me fired at your school, but luckily I don't work.
No, only if it went viral, it would get.
All
you
right.
fired.
So what do you have to say? Via?
That Coco Chanel, the famous fashion designer, was a Nazi sympathizer.
I've heard that mentioned. I've also heard that that's not a fair charge, but
Okay, well, let's say for argument's sake that it is a fair charge.
okay.
Does that mean that her handbags are any less exquisite?
Yeah, we had that conversation 10 minutes ago. That's the
No,
art.
but
I've moved on to
Warren said-
magic.
But you didn't answer. You didn't weigh in.
Oh,
I mean, do
oh, you want me to
separate? I
weigh
mean,
in?
that's like
Okay.
a major philosophical question. Can you separate
Well,
art from the artist? I mean, I think
at
that
some point it would interfere with my enjoyment of it.
Woody
that would
Allen?
still
That's
there's
what I
two
was
separate
thinking,
there's two
Woody Allen.
questions we have to ask.
Woody Allen.
Well, let me just say there's two questions. The first question is does that make the artist any less brilliant and his work any less worthy? And then clearly it's no.
Okay.
The second question is could I enjoy it the same way, or would it just conjure up too many bad associations such that my enjoyment would be diminished?
Michael Jackson.
Because I am thinking of and the answer is it has to be no, because I was just the other day listening to Roger Waters music and it was into it.
Oh,
and
Dan.
I don't know what your stance on Israel Palestine is, but Roger Waters is very pro Palestine and I'm very pro Israel.
You can be pro Palestine and be pro Israel.
Well, he's very
too.
anti-Israel.
Right.
Okay, so but I got to say, the Gunner's Dream is a hidden gem. I don't know if you know that song.
See
No.
that? Yeah. See that? That's
And I love the song. Now, so I guess I can enjoy art.
Michael Jackson,
I never loved him anyway. Yeah.
Harvey Weinstein,
Yeah, I mean his
Bill
movies-
Cosby.
Harvey Weinstein. What did he make though? He never made anything.
Well, he produced.
Produced.
He produced
so you
Shakespeare
support-
in Love.
supporting the work of.
I will say that regarding Roger Waters,
Oh,
I don't
fuck
want to
that
put
guy.
money in his pocket.
Yeah, fuck him.
So, I mean, if I listen to him on Spotify, does that maybe a tenth of a cent? I don't know how much he would get from that.
Not even a dime for me.
So but if you watch it, if you steal it, I guess it's okay then, in terms of.
What about? I think Bill Cosby is a very good example for the.
I haven't tried to. I'm not familiar with his stand-up. I loved the first 2 seasons of the Cosby Show. After that, it went downhill fast.
Can't get a straight answer here.
The answer is I'd have to watch the Cosby Show and see if I enjoyed it. I probably could. Yeah,
Okay.
I probably could. I mean, but you're what we call an elder millennial.
I am.
So the truth is that
So you may not know the Cosby Show.
I know
of
the
course he
Cosby
knows
Show.
the Cosby Show. So I think the answer
I don't know.
is that we actually don't give a shit how horrible of a human being you are. If you make good work, we are willing to consume it, regardless of the fact if you have raped 60
Well,
women.
there's another sub issue.
Okay.
Are we willing to consume it because we enjoy it, and are we willing to put money in the artist's pocket? So if there was a way to watch the Cosby Show without benefiting Cosby, that's one thing. But if you're benefiting him financially, then that's another question. So I would say that I would. Is it Noam here? Noam's not coming. It's clear.
What are you saying, Max?
Check your phone.
What?
I was saying to check your phone. I texted you the things. It's not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's not coming.
I picked up on that all.
You're
by
like Delta
myself.
Dawn waiting.
Who?
You know the song Delta Dawn?
No.
She was waiting with the flower on for her lover who never showed
Who
up.
sang that song? Roger
Tanya
Waters.
Tucker. Tanya Tucker.
Okay, go ahead. Finish.
All
what-
right.
Finish what you were saying.
I'm saying is I can enjoy the art, but I have some misgivings about financially benefiting the artist.
It's understandable.
So in your case, you would have to Xerox a copy of Harry Potter and read it.
Guess so.
If you didn't want to.
Yeah.
I think this school
Yeah.
really handed you a bouquet of flowers.
So
Thank you.
I'm serious.
appreciate
I
it,
really
yeah.
do. I think that in this digital age, and if you did something that attracted the attention of Elon Musk and Piers Morgan without even really trying, imagine what you could do with a little bit of strategy and effort.
Yeah, it's easier when you don't try and you don't mean to do it. Then you try and replicate it.
Yeah, but now you have a platform and you can use that.
It is a remarkable opportunity, and
Mhm.
that's what people were asking me. Like, well, that's what caused this whole thing, was trying to balance both, to be the best teacher I could, keep going with that, but also to not pass up on such a remarkable, crazy, like all the things that had to align for that thing.
Yeah.
Even when you look at it, it's like, well, that doesn't look like much, though, and it's not. That
No, I don't
shouldn't-
think that's true. I actually
that should
think
never
that
have gone
that's-
viral.
I don't agree with you. I actually think that there is a reason that things go viral for a reason.
I could see why it went viral.
So can
you know,
I.
but it's hindsight is 2020. If it didn't go viral, I'd also say, yeah, I can see why they didn't go viral.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know, but yeah, I mean, it's very much in the
Of
zeitgeist, if you
of-
will.
yes, like
You know, everybody's talking about these issues, trans issues, bigotry, and
but you really
that you got a
tapped
student
into-
to change his mind, his mind.
Mhm.
Okay, because you never know.
J.K. Rowling's nose.
Hmm?
And anyway,
He said his mind because you never know.
it sounded like a male voice.
Oh.
And he said, but you
Oh.
never know. And I said J.K. Rowling's nose.
Knows. I got it.
So, what other interested? Now you're interested. You're interested in Harry Potter, so you must also be interested in video games.
Yeah, a little bit.
And
Are you?
No.
Okay.
I'm not interested in video games. And you probably like. What about Star Wars?
No, I think Star Wars has fallen off. What do you think?
I stopped paying attention. I was a kid when the first 3 came out.
Did you watch that?
And I loved them.
Really?
But I was a kid.
I never saw.
Then in later years, when the new ones came in, I'm like, well, these are shit compared to the old ones. But I don't know if they're only shit because I'm
they're
now an
shit.
adult.
No, it's not because you're an adult. They're shit.
Okay.
They're all shit, even the first one.
No,
the
No, I
original?
like I thought they were brilliant. The first one's extremely creative.
Okay.
Even the time, and even the Phantom Menace and everything wasn't as bad. It's become a meme online. It's gotten so bad.
Okay.
I mean, there's whole channels that are just crapping on Star Wars now.
Anyway, I think we're about out of time.
So
but
what's your locals? Where
but,
can people find you
I
and
d-
support your work?
I think it's Warren Smith or Secret Scholars, and you should be able to find it.
I think you should consider rebranding to the critical thinking guy.
That's a good.
I'm being dead serious. It's like who's that famous science guy that everybody
Bill
loves?
Nye.
Yeah, Bill Nye,
Nye,
the
the
science
science guy.
guy.
Ah,
You're the critical thinking guy. It's great.
good
Dan,
idea.
I'm not against it.
I'm
not
good at these
against it,
things.
You know.
Well, thank you.
I
You
think it
guys
could be
are
good branding. Warren Smith. So you're staying the night in the city?
I'm not sure. I don't.
Well,
no.
you're welcome to see a comedy show if you'd like to.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I
Yeah.
got to figure out the parking situation. Like in
I
that,
thought you parked.
I parked. They said I have till. Yeah, I could probably do
You
a show.
parked in the lot, right?
Yeah, I have till
okay.
midnight to
Okay.
get
okay.
before they close. would love
We
to.
thank you. We apologize. It was
No.
we got our wires crossed.
It's okay. It was
Noam,
it was great.
Noam,
Yeah, this was
who
awesome.
was the
talking
one
to
who
you.
discovered you, online, but he had
No worries.
he didn't realize you were coming tonight, and he ordered Il Molino, which is a famous Italian restaurant in town.
And that we could probably go feed you.
And maybe there's enough left for you.
No worries.
All right, but we thank
you.
you.
Guys. Thank you.
Podcast at comedyseller.com, everybody, for comments, questions, and suggestions. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.